So this is a female pelvis. Okay. So these are the innominate bones which consist of the iliac, ischium and the pubis. This is the anterior is the pubic symphysis. The posterior part you can see is the sacrum, and this the distal end is the coccyx. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the various diameters of the female pelvis. So this is the pelvic inlet or the pelvic rim. The middle portion is the pelvic cavity, and this portion is the pelvic outlet. Okay. So the first diameter today we are going to talk about is the transverse diameter. This is the transverse diameter of the pelvic inlet, which is about 13 centimeter. Okay, 13 centimeter, and anterior posterior diameter is about 11 centimeter. This is the anterior posterior diameter, and this is the right oblique diameter. As you can see, this is starting from the right sacroiliac joint. So this is the right oblique diameter, this is the left oblique diameter, and both are 12 centimeter. Okay, so this is 11, 12, 12 and 13. So after that comes the cavity of the pelvic inlet, which consists of these are the ischial spines. Okay, these bony prominence, this bony prominence you can see are the ischial spines. This is where the internal rotation of your fetus takes place in a normal labor, that is at the level of zero station. The diameter between both the ischial spines is known as the bispinous diameter or interstitial diameter, which is about 10.5 centimeter. So this is the place where internal rotation takes place. This is the plane of least pelvic dimension, one of the most important dimensions of the female pelvic cavity, because this is the place, this is the level where the internal rotation, that is the internal rotation of the head of the fetus occurs. So next is the outlet. So this is the anterior posterior diameter of the outlet. Anterior posterior diameter here is 13 centimeter and the transverse diameter is 11 centimeter. In inlet it was the transverse diameter was 13 centimeter, but here your anterior posterior diameter is the 13 centimeter and your transverse diameter is the 11 centimeter. Okay, so this is not the same because your because your pelvis is not a cylindrical structure. Okay, from the anterior side, the transverse diameter is longer, or you can say it is okay, diameter is longer, but in the outlet side it's the opposite. The anterior posterior is the larger side. This is the reason why, because the structure of female pelvis is both these structures of the inlet and outlet is different. That is why the head has to rotate. Okay, during the internal rotation, if the head is not going to rotate, then it is not going to come out of the pelvic outlet or your outlet. So that is why your internal rotation happens, because the human pelvis is designed, or your female pelvis is designed in such a way that your inlet is, dimensions of inlet are not same to the outlet dimensions. So generally there are 4 types of pelvis you can see. Okay, so these are gynecoid pelvis, platyphoid pelvis, android pelvis and anthropoid pelvis. The most favorable pelvis, or you can say the pelvis which is favorable for a normal vaginal delivery, is a gynecoid pelvis, and your male type of pelvis is the your android pelvis, which is not the most usual, or not the most favorable one for the normal delivery or normal parturition of the baby. So gynecoid pelvis, if we assume it as a gynecoid pelvis, this is not an actual pelvis, just assume it. If this is a gynecoid pelvis, so what happens is your ischial spines are not prominent in a gynecoid pelvis. Okay, the first one is ischial spines are not prominent. Second one is the curve of the sacrum is well curved. Okay, in cases of your android pelvis, the curve is the sacrum, the curve of the sacrum is straight, but in case of gynecoid it is a little curve. And third is the side walls. When we feel the side walls of your pelvic cavity, your gynecoid pelvis, the side walls happens to converge. Okay, they happens to converge or are straight. It can be straight or converge. Okay, that is the. And one last thing, the subpubic, this is the subpubic arc. So this is the subpubic arc, and if you make this an angle, it is the subpubic angle. So in gynecoid pelvis, the angle is usually an obtuse angle, which is more than your 90 degree but less than 180 degree. Okay, so these are the various diameters of your female pelvis. Okay, this is the sacral promontory. This is the ischial tuberosity. This is the this is the acetabulum. Okay, this is the acetabulum where the femur articulates with the hip joint. So yeah, so this is a pelvis. This is not the actual pelvis, but today we are going to discuss about the various diameters, or the diameters that are present in a human pelvis. That is not human, that is in a female pelvis. So this is the female